What's going on YouTube? Flashy here, and today we're going to be ranking the original 151 Pokemon. This is Flashy Makes a Tier List, the Gen 1 edition. Alright, so we're just going to get right into things here. Bulbasaur, S tier. No questions asked. And I mean seriously, no questions asked. Look at this guy. Look at him. S tier. Look. S tier. Alright, so now we're moving into where things are going to get a little iffy. We got Ivysaur. Honestly, gonna have to put Ivysaur in the B tier. I mean, you get Ivysaur at level 16 or 15 or whatever as soon as he evolves, and you're kind of just like, kind of wish I had a Bulbasaur, kind of wish I had a Venusaur. He kind of falls in that weird middle area, but Ivysaur still kind of dope. But now we got Venusaur. This is tough because I just put Ivysaur in B. All right, Venusaur's got to go into A. He's a classic, you know. Venusaur, Solar Beam. It's ingrained in all of our heads from being a kid. You got to put Venusaur in A tier. Next up, Charmander, instant S. Why even bother? If you didn't pick Charmander, what were you doing? Maybe picking Bulbasaur, which I get, but instant S. Charmeleon, we're going to put Charmeleon in an A. Charmeleon is awesome. I always liked when my Charmander evolved into Charmeleon. The Pokemon is just so cool. I don't know what the little unicorn thing on top of his head is, but regardless, Charmeleon is always sick. He gets double kick, he gets flamethrower, he does all this crazy stuff. Charmeleon, awesome, awesome Pokemon. Charizard, S tier. Come on. It's Charizard. Next up, we got Squirtle, S tier. Listen, I know it's just because we started with the starters. It seems like there's a lot of S tiers, but these Pokemon are just fantastic. Squirtle, S tier, no questions asked. I'm starting to sense a pattern though, because we're moving into War Turtle now. War Turtle, gonna have to go with a B tier. Again, I don't know what it is just about except for Charmeleon. Stage 2, the Stage 2 starter evolutions, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just because like the starters are so iconic, and then the third evolutions are so iconic because you finish out the game with like the Elite Four and stuff like that. So everybody always likes the third evolution. So I don't know. The starters, B tier. Gonna leave them there. Blastoise. I want to give Blastoise an S, and there's gonna be so many of you screaming right now that I'm hovering Blastoise between A and S. A tier. Blastoise, A tier. Squirtle is the man. We got Squirtle Squad. Blastoise. He's really, really cool. He's not Charizard. It's so weird putting like Bulbasaur over Blastoise now that I'm looking at it, but I'm gonna stick with it. I'm sticking with Blastoise in the A tier. He's amazing. Listen, the A tier is great. You want to be in the A tier. S tier is like upper echelon type thing. A tier is like some of the best. You know what? We're gonna switch it up. Charmeleon, B tier. I have to do it. I think this is a good way to do all the starters without people getting mad, and with me not losing any respect for myself while looking at this, because seeing Charmeleon and Blastoise in the same tier just didn't really make sense to me. Okay, now this is where the bias is going to start to kick in just a little bit. Caterpie, A tier. Caterpie is an A tier Pokemon. I know there's people smashing their desk and punching their monitors right now that I did that. Caterpie is an A tier. Listen, if it makes you guys feel better, I'll put him over here. If it wasn't for Caterpie, we wouldn't have Butterfree. If we didn't have Butterfree, I wouldn't have my second favorite Pokemon ever. Say what you want. Give me a Caterpie with String Shot and Tackle all day. Let me evolve it at level 10. Like, I don't know. Caterpie is a really, really awesome Pokemon. I mean, I remember as a kid watching the show, like, you always see the Caterpie pop up. Caterpie's awesome. He's a cute little guy. You can never be mad at Caterpie. So A tier for me. I really, really like him. But this is where the bias isn't going to kick in. Metapod. I want to give Metapod an F tier, but that episode of the original Pokemon series where it's the Metapod versus Metapod and they just use Harden against each other and they're just sitting there using Harden. Gonna give Metapod a C. Really, I never want a Metapod. I have a Metapod for like 2 levels and then I get S tier Butterfree. At the front, S tier, no questions asked. Listen, Butterfree is the second greatest Pokemon ever made. I'm gonna let that sink in. Okay, now that is sunk in and all of you have clicked off from me saying that, I don't know. I just love Butterfree. Every single time I played any of like the Gen 1 games, I always had a Butterfree. At level 10, you get Confusion, you get Sleep Powder, you get Poison Powder, you get Paralyzed Powder. It's like literally one of the best Pokemon ever. Also, if you watched Bye Bye Butterfree from the original Pokemon series and you didn't sob either as a kid or as an adult, you did. You did sob. That's all I'm going to say. Butterfree, S tier, second best Pokemon ever made. Weedle, sorry Weedle, F tier. Caterpie, amazing. Weedle, it's like, did we really need the Weedle? You know what I'm saying? Kakuna, F tier, sorry. This whole lot. Okay, actually, Beedrill is kind of dope. I'm gonna put Beedrill in a C tier because Beedrill is actually pretty sick. I mean, his design, I never had a Beedrill because Butterfree all day, right? But the design is pretty cool. There were some really cool episodes that involved Beedrill and like a hive of Beedrill attacking Ash and all them. So Beedrill, definitely, I'll put him in a C tier. I'll put him in a C tier. If I had D tier, I would have put him in a D, but we don't have that. We're just doing A, B, C, F, and S. C tier, Beedrill, put him in the same as Metapod. Not the worst, but nowhere near being the best. All right, next up we got Pidgey. Honestly, I want to put Pidgey in an A tier, but we're going to put Pidgey in B. Just an all-around solid. You know, B, there's nothing wrong with being in the B tier. It's a really solid place to be. Pidgey, growing up, you always caught a Pidgey. Everybody caught a Pidgey. It was the first flying Pokemon. I'm pretty sure it's like one of the only flying Pokemon outside of a few, but like you never really caught the other ones. So Pidgey was like, it's like the staple of your Gen 1 team. You got a Pidgey, you need Fly, you need some kind of flying move like Gust or Wing Attack or whatever, or Peck or whatever the case may be. Everybody got a Pidgey. You had to have a Pidgey. And also growing up, I had so many Pidgey cards. It was unbelievable. I think the only cards that I owned, looking back on it, were Pidgey and Spearow. I don't know why. I had so many Pidgey cards. But again, Pidgey, just a staple. Next up, Pidgeotto. Again, it falls into that category of being in the middle of two really like solid Pokemon. I think Pidgeotto is going to be a C. I think I have to put Pidgeotto at C. I'm not going to lie. I'm really like contemplating that. Like, is Pidgeotto really in the same tier as a Beedrill and a Metapod? I think so. I mean, there's nothing really. Pidgeotto doesn't really bring much to the table. The only thing that I can think of with Pidgeotto is in Gen 2, where the first gym, Faulkner was his name, has a Pidgeotto at level 9. And even when I was a kid, I was like, this is complete BS. Pidgey doesn't evolve until level something in the double digits. How do you have a level 9 Pidgeotto? I'm mad. So, C tier. Pidgeot, probably going to go into B tier. Really, really solid pick. I mean, evolves. You're gonna have a Pidgeot by the end of your run. Your rival in the OG games has that Pidgeot that he starts every single fight with. So you get a lot of the Pidgey line throughout your Gen 1 time. So I think that's why they're going to go in B tier, just because they're such a staple in the Kanto region. So, all right, next up, Rattata, F tier. Don't even care. Next, Raticate, F tier. Next. Literally the worst. Okay, Spearow, I'm probably going to end up putting Spearow in the C tier just because it's not Pidgey. This is the same thing with Caterpie and Weedle. They kind of, what I'm noticing is Gen 1 kind of had like one or the other with a few different things. One was really good, the other one, not so much. But Fearow is sick. We're going to put Fearow in a B tier right behind Pidgeot. I like Fearow a lot. That's a sick Pokemon. It made an awesome like cry or whatever that's called when like a trainer sent him out. I remember being a kid and anytime Fearow came out, like the cry that it makes was always really, really cool. So Fearow, solid Pokemon. Again, another one where you could teach it fly. It gets peck and stuff like that. So you need to have a flying move in Gen 1. I feel like I'm basing a lot of these on my time in like Pokemon Blue and Leaf Green. But I'm trying to be as open to every single avenue, from the card game to the show to the actual video game. Next up, we have Ekans and Arbok. I'm looking at these and I'm curious. I'm wondering where they should go. I don't think I like Ekans that much. I don't think Ekans really brings that much to the table. The only really cool thing, the reason Ekans isn't going in F is because as a kid, when I found out that Ekans' name backwards is Snake and Arbok's name backwards is Cobra, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. So he doesn't get an F because I remember that being a kid. That was really cool. Probably C tier. Ekans, I mean, what are you going to do? Use Wrap? What are you going to do with that? You know what I'm saying? Maybe Poison Sting. Arbok, though. Arbok is going in B. I think Arbok is a really, really cool Pokemon. Obviously, Arbok in the show was awesome. He was always there. I think it was James, right? James from Team Rocket had an Arbok. Or was it Jesse? I can't remember. I got to rewatch the entire show. But Arbok in the show was awesome. I remember every time he came out, I was like, yo, that Pokemon is sick. I don't think I ever had one, because I never caught an Ekans. So I was like, why would I catch an Ekans? So I never really had an Arbok when I was like playing through the games and stuff like that. Arbok cards do look really, really good. So Arbok, solid B. I mean, again, nothing wrong with being in the B tier. Arbok, really, really cool Pokemon. Never really had much experience using an Arbok or anything like that, but the name is sick. Also, as a kid, I thought that like the Python face thing that he uses as a defense mechanism, right? I thought that was his actual face. So I got wamboozled for like the first 10 years of my life. So bonus points for you, Arbok. Okay, Pikachu. I want to put Pikachu in A tier. And just saying that, I feel like a lot of people already clicked off. He's an S. Listen, Pikachu's an S. He's the face of the entire thing. If when you hear Pokemon, you think Pikachu immediately. Maybe now you think Charizard because of all the card stuff, but Pikachu is like, what's crazy is probably like anywhere you go in the world, you could show a picture of like a massive celebrity or something, and people would be like, I don't know who that is. But you show a picture of Pikachu to anybody aged 1 to 100, people are gonna know who Pikachu is. And that's why it's gotta be an S tier. But for me personally, probably an A. Next up, Raichu. I really, really liked Raichu cards growing up. I thought Raichu cards always looked really cool. Like base set Hollow Raichu. I think it's base set. Or is it Jungle? I don't know. There's a Hollow Raichu from one of the early sets that looks absolutely awesome. And I remember anytime I saw someone with that as a kid, I was like, okay, this guy's not messing around. He's not messing around here at all. So I'm going to have to give Raichu a B tier. The thing that's rough for Raichu is it's the follow-up to Pikachu. How are you the evolved form of the biggest name in the entire IP, whatever you want to call Pokemon? In the entire Pokemon world, you're the evolved form of the biggest name in that world. There's really not much you can do. Either you're going to be better than it, or you're just going to fall flat. And I think that's kind of what happens with Raichu. I mean, the only thing I can think of outside of like the cool Hollow Raichu cards was Lieutenant Surge had a Raichu, and that always was really cool to me. But other than that, you're probably going to keep your Pikachu. I mean, Ash didn't evolve his Pikachu for a reason. B tier. Okay, next up we have Sandshrew, and this is going to be another weird one. I think Sandshrew is an A. I think Sandshrew is an A. I don't know why. I love Sandshrew. Every time I played, especially through Leaf Green, I got myself a Sandshrew. I think it is an awesome Pokemon. I really don't know what it is. It's an adorable Pokemon. It falls into the same line as Caterpie. It's just an adorable Pokemon. You can't be mad at Sandshrew. That's how I'm going to justify the A tier. You can't be mad at Sandshrew. Sandslash, there was a point in my life where Sandslash was arguably like one of my top 5 favorites like ever. And I never knew what it was. I think he just looked so cool to me as a kid. He's going an A. There was something about Sandslash that was so awesome to me. I mean, he doesn't really do anything special. He has Slash, obviously, and he has Dig, and I think he can learn Earthquake. So like there's a little something there, but just the nostalgia for me, like looking at a Sandslash and remember being a kid and just being like, that is like the coolest Pokemon ever. I think that's kind of why I'm putting him in A tier. This is an extremely biased tier list, by the way, if you guys haven't realized yet. Completely biased. No other way to say it. So we're going to put Sandslash in A tier. I just really like this line. This is just one of those 2 Pokemon where, you know, thinking back to being a kid, I'm just like, those are awesome. I don't know what it is. I just really, really like them. I also had a ton of Sandshrew cards. So I think that's what it is. All right, now Nidoran female. This is going back to the Caterpie Weedle situation. You have one and you have the other, and one, it really outclasses the other. I'm gonna have to put Nidoran female in the C tier. Nidorina, C tier. Nidoqueen, if there was an in between a B and a C, I would probably put Nidoqueen there. I feel like she should be in the B tier. Nidoqueen is like a really, really solid pick. So I'm gonna put her in B tier just because, again, her card from base set or one of the earlier sets was really, really cool. I can't remember an instance of Nidoqueen being like a huge part of the show. Again, I haven't watched the show in a long time. I'm going to keep Nidoqueen at a solid B just because of the sheer like strength of that Pokemon. Like an Earthquake from a Nidoqueen is taking out everything. And now the flip side, Nidoran male, A tier. Nidoran male is an A tier strictly because, well, A, it looks awesome. I mean, look at it. It is sick. Like it is so cool looking. Giant ear, horns all over it, little teeth, sharp nails, ready to attack. You pick him up on your first route on your way onto your Pokemon journey, and he stays with you all the way up until he becomes a Nidorino. Gonna put Nidorino at C tier because this is why. Every single time my Nidoran male evolves into a Nidorino, what am I doing instantly? Bringing him into an S tier because Nidoking is an S tier. If you guys don't know, you evolve your Nidorino with a Moonstone into a Nidoking, and since you get Nidoran male at the beginning of the game, you get a Moonstone like right after that pretty much. So all you do is grind your Nidoran into a Nidorino, and literally as soon as it evolves, you go right into your bag and you take that Moonstone and you make it a Nidoking and you get yourself an S tier Pokemon. I love Nidoking. Nidoking is definitely in my call it top 7 Pokemon. Nidoking is just so awesome. I mean, Nidoking is just one of those Pokemon where it's like the sheer brute force of it makes it so cool. You know, I love the look of it, the purple, the green on the inside, the giant horn ready. A Nidoking Earthquake is just dominating anything in its way. There was a point where Nidoking can learn a move that does a one-hit KO. Is it Horn Drill or Mega Horn or something like that? It's a one-hit KO, like just brute force. Absolutely insane. And the fact that all you needed was a Moonstone and you didn't have to raise your Nidorino up to like level 40 or 50. I mean, Nidoking, S tier all day. Also, the Nidoking cards all look amazing. Okay, next up we have Clefairy and Clefable. I mean, I'm really tempted to put Clefairy and Clefable into F tier. The only thing I can think of with Clefairy is on the Nintendo 64 Pokemon game. There was that Clefairy minigame that I had no idea as a kid how to play. So it made me so mad. So I do have repressed memories with Clefairy. Clefable is kind of like that defensive wall and like there's memes and stuff, but there's never a time where I'm like, oh, wish I had a Clefairy, wish I had a Clefable on my team, or gotta get that Clefable card. Like, I don't think there ever really was that for me. All right, so next up we have like one of 6 of the fire Pokemon line from Gen 1. We got Vulpix and Ninetales. So Vulpix I'm probably gonna put at a B. I had a ton of Vulpix cards growing up too. The nostalgia there, that's sitting with me. Fire Pokemon, I'm a huge fan of fire Pokemon. As I grew up, I like electricity Pokemon a lot. Fire Pokemon was my thing. I loved fire Pokemon growing up. So I always liked Vulpix, but Ninetales, instant A. Instant A tier. Ninetales is sick. One of my favorite cards ever is the Hollow Ninetales from base set. There is just nothing like a Ninetales. They just look so majestic. And then they use Flamethrower and there's just flames everywhere and they just decimate everything in their path. One of the coolest Pokemon ever. I never really had one much, but every time I see a Ninetales card or anytime I saw like there was a trainer with a Ninetales in the game or something like that, I was always like, man, that Pokemon is awesome. So Ninetales, kind of biased because I love fire Pokemon, but at the same time, Ninetales is just absolutely awesome. It's got 9 tails. What else do you need to say? All right, so now we have the other Mountain Moon Pokemon, pretty much is what this is. We got Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. So I'm probably gonna put Wigglytuff in the F tier. Just I'm skipping ahead here, but I'm putting Wigglytuff in the F tier because what is it doing, you know? But Jigglypuff, I'm not gonna be as harsh on. I'm gonna give her the C tier, but that's just because Jigglypuff in the show was hilarious. She always walked around with a marker. She was putting everybody to sleep. She was drawing on their faces. Actually, if there was like an in between a B and a C, I would put Jigglypuff there probably. Also because Jigglypuff is in Smash and Jigglypuff in Smash has that down B where it's like an instant KO. I don't know. Jigglypuff is kind of lit now that I think about it. Jigglypuff is kind of a cool Pokemon. I don't think she's in the same as Charmeleon, so I'm gonna drop her down to C. A respectable C. I'll never catch a Jigglypuff, but thinking back to the show and playing Super Smash and stuff like that, solid Pokemon. All right, I think I speak for everybody when I say Zubat okay, this is Gen 1, so I'm not putting any of the other gens into my kind of mental state here while I'm doing this. Crobat is one of my favorite Pokemon. I love Crobats, and it does come from the Zubat line, but oh my goodness, is there anything worse than going in a cave without repels and finding a million Zubat? F tier. I just genuinely made myself angry thinking about that, so F tier. F tier, Golbat, F tier, not really doing anything for me. If Crobat was on this list, I might have bumped Zubat up to a C or something like that. I kind of wish I put a D tier in here. I kind of feel like it's either like you're decent or you're terrible or you're S. You know what I'm saying? But I like this. It's causing me to think more. So that's why I took the D tier out. But F tier. It's literally just a Pokemon that if you don't have repels, you're walking through and you're just like, oh, if I run into another Zubat, I'm going to turn this game off. All right. Up next, we have the Oddish line. This is a little interesting to me because I never really took the time to think about this. I like Oddish. I think Oddish is a cool Pokemon. Like, it's just so happy. It's another one of those Pokemon that you look at and like you can't be angry. Oddish is a cool Pokemon. Probably gonna put her in a C tier. She's not quite a B. Definitely not an F though. Oddish is pretty cool. I like Oddish. I don't think I ever. Maybe I caught an Oddish one time in my 9 million playthroughs of Gen 1. I think I caught an Oddish like once. Solid character. I think Misty walked around with an Oddish, right? Or something. There was a cool Oddish in the show at some points. Gloom though, F. What is the point of Gloom? Nothing. No point of Gloom. Vileplume, gonna give it... Okay, a Vileplume using Petal Dance is like a really, really cool thing to see when you're playing the games. I'm gonna give Vileplume a C. It is a really cool Pokemon, and it's pretty strong. There have been plenty of Vileplumes that have kicked my behind, 4th Gym America. On the runs where I didn't pick Charmander, which is like 1 in 15, that Vileplume would cause me some problems. So I'll give Vileplume a C. You know, OG Vileplume Hollow card is pretty solid, so C tier. Paris and Parasect, F. No point. Why are you catching a Paris? Next up, though, Venonat. Okay, so this actually puts me in a predicament here. I really, really like Venonat. I don't know why. I never caught one. I did have a lot of Venonat cards growing up, but it falls into the category of you can't be mad if you look at it. It's a ball of fluff. How are you gonna be mad at that? Venonat, probably like a higher C tier. I'm gonna put Venonat at a higher C. Nothing bad to say about it. Nothing like too crazy good to say about it. Venomoth, I don't know, probably low C. Venomoth isn't really doing it for me. I don't think I ever had a Venomoth. There was a cool Venomoth card, but other than that, it didn't didn't really do much. It was just kind of one of those Pokemon that's there. No, I don't think any like gym leaders had it where it was like, oh my gosh, I can't beat so-and-so's Venomoth. Like maybe, oh, what was his name? Was it Koga? Did Koga have a Venomoth? Maybe. I think Koga had a Venomoth, and like that was like semi-difficult to beat, but Venomoth mid-C. Mid-C, mid to low C, nothing crazy. All right, so now the Diglett boys, Diglett and Dugtrio. So I would probably put Diglett and Dugtrio like low C. The only thing is, my first ever shiny Pokemon, before I even knew what shiny Pokemon were, was a Diglett in Diglett Cave. I'll never forget that. I was playing Pokemon Leaf Green, walking through Diglett Cave, didn't have any repels. I was mad because I'm walking through Diglett Cave with no repels, and a Diglett pops up, and it's got a blue nose. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with shiny Pokemon. So I don't really care for the Pokemon, but the fact that it did that for me as a kid, where it was like shiny Pokemon are sick and they exist. Again, this is like pre-internet. I didn't even know that shiny Pokemon existed. I didn't know people shiny hunted or anything like that. Like low C, definitely low C. Same with Dugtrio. I mean, a Dugtrio is literally just 3 Diglett. So nothing crazy there. The only cool thing is it can learn Earthquake. It does learn Dig. So like you get some really solid ground moves out of them, but take a Sandshrew or a Sandslash. Why are you going Diglett Dugtrio? But has to be honorable mention that it was my first ever shiny Pokemon that I caught. All right, so now we have an interesting one. We got a Meowth here, and I don't like Meowth. I don't know. Normal type Pokemon are like kind of boring to me. I never really had a normal type Pokemon. There was no point. There is one on this list that is really cool, and he's gonna get a really solid rating. But I really want to put Meowth in C. But because of the show, Meowth obviously being one of the biggest characters, a very low B. See, even saying Meowth and B just doesn't... Okay, Meowth is going C just because he kind of he has like the Jigglypuff effect, right? Where it's like, I don't really care for that Pokemon, but there's just so much lore wrapped around it that you can't put it in F, so it's got to go in C. A respectable C, just because he was such a crucial part of the show. Persian is a really cool Pokemon. Again, since I never really had a Meowth, I never got a Persian in the games when I was growing up. I do like the Persian card. The Persian base set card or jungle, whatever it is. Anytime I talk about the cards that from growing up, it's anywhere between base set, jungle, fossil, base set 2, like any of those OG ones, you know. But Persian, listen, I'm a huge cat person. I love cats, so I can't give Persian an F. Mid-tier C, somewhere like that. Nothing bad to say about it. Nothing really good to say about it. Psyduck, B tier. I was thinking about, I saw Psyduck coming up. I saw him creeping up on the list here, and I was like, ooh, what are we gonna do with Psyduck? But B, easy B tier. I never really cared for Psyduck growing up or anything like that, but Psyduck is hilarious. There's nothing else to say. It is such a funny Pokemon. I know a lot of people really like Psyduck as well, so I mean, he's cool. There's really nothing else to say about it. You kind of feel bad for him. He's always confused. He's got a headache, but he can turn up when he needs to. There's parts in the show where Psyduck turns up. Just thinking about Psyduck makes me laugh, man. It puts me in a good mood. I like that Pokemon a lot. B tier. Unfortunately, though, his evolved form, Golduck, low C. Golduck isn't really doing it for me. Golduck can learn Surf and Psychic, right? He can learn both, so that's kind of cool. Other than that, I don't know. I like Psyduck more. All right, interesting. We have a Mankey and Primeape now. So I never really cared for Mankey until I played Pokemon Leaf Green. So in Pokemon Leaf Green, they added Mankey to the beginning route. I don't know why. Maybe it was in Pokemon Red or something. I don't remember what happened, but in Pokemon Leaf Green, you could catch a Mankey before you even got to the first Pokemon Center. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, wait, I can have a fighting Pokemon at the beginning of the game? Like, I could only ever get like a Machop, but since I can't get a Machamp because I didn't have any friends to trade with, I was like, I never had a fighting Pokemon really. So I was like, you know what? Mankey's kind of cool. But then I started using him and I'm like, C tier. Mankey's a C. Same thing with his evolved form, Primeape. I'm not really low C. It's not really doing anything for me. Primeape, kind of cool. Maybe a Primeape using Dynamic Punch is pretty sick, but Growlithe, though, another fire type, B tier. I love Growlithe. I think Growlithe is an awesome Pokemon. Again, this is just complete bias on my end. I love fire Pokemon. Is there one fire Pokemon below B tier in this? No, there's not. And there won't be. Like fire Pokemon, especially the OG ones, I like all of them. Arcanine, whatever you want to call them, B tier. Just two really awesome Pokemon. There's nothing really else to say about it. Growlithe and Arcanine, very identifiable, right? As soon as you see them, you know what an Arcanine is. You know what a Growlithe is, like, as soon as you see them. Not really much else to say about that. Fire Pokemon are sick, B tier. The Poly line. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I really like Poliwag. I don't know why. I really like Poliwag. I think it's from playing Pokemon Crystal. You could catch a Poliwag, and it had Bubble right as soon as you caught it. And again, these random little like memory slots that I have and like things that take me back make no sense, but listen, Pokemon has been with me through my whole life, as I'm sure it has been with most of you guys. This is the stuff that happens. You know, you remember stuff from being a kid and you bring it with you to being an adult, if I would even consider myself one. But Poliwag, always really, really liked it. Again, falls into the category. You look at it, you can't be mad. So now this is the question though. Is it low B or is it high C? I'm gonna go, honestly, since I put Psyduck in a B, I'm gonna give Poliwag a low B, like a B minus minus. Not a C, because Poliwag is really dope. I'm gonna have to go Poliwhirl though. Poliwhirl into C. Probably the same with Poliwrath. What I'm remembering about Poliwrath though is Bruno from Gen 2. Again, this isn't a Gen 2 list, so I can't do anything from Gen 2. I can't have any of that. Actually, well, I put Poliwag in B because of Gen 2. That's besides the point. Bruno in Gen 2 does have a sick Poliwrath with Dynamic Punch. So that is really cool. C tier, again, nothing bad to say about it. If it's in the high C tier, it's like, nothing bad to say about it. Really solid Pokemon. Okay, next we got Abracadabra Alakazam. Ready? Boom, boom, boom. I love this line, man. Abracadabra Alakazam, they're just awesome. I don't know what it is about them. Maybe it's the spoons. Maybe it's the sound Abra makes when he gets called out into battle. The psychic Pokemon are sick. Abracadabra, Alakazam, their names, the line, the lore behind them, everything about the three of those Pokemon, absolutely awesome. And yes, I am mad. I didn't have any friends, so I couldn't trade with anybody. So I was always stuck with an Abra, and I could never get an Alakazam. All right, moving on. We got Machop, Machoke, Machamp. Okay, I'm thinking about it. I'm really, really thinking about it here. I'm going to put Machamp in a B. I'm going to start with Machamp. I don't mean to like jump ahead here. Machamp is a B. Forearms, completely awesome. Nothing else to say about it. Machamp is such a cool Pokemon. Everybody sees Machamp and knows that's Machamp. It's one of those Pokemon, you know? Forearms, jacked out of his mind, Dynamic Punch, Machamp. Come on. Machop and Machoke, though, mid-C. Mid-C. They're really not doing much for me. It's cool that Machop has Karate Chop and Low Kick right off the bat. Machoke is kind of just, he's in that in-between, right? Where it's like, I want a Machamp. Bellsprout, Weeping Bell, and Victory Bell. Ugh. Honestly, I'm seeing a lot here that I'm not a fan of. I'm low C, low C, low C. Tentacruel, low C, low C. Actually, nah. I'm very tempted to put Tentacruel and Tentacruel into F, honestly. I speed ran that real quick. I don't like Bellsprout. So, I don't know. Like, okay, I'm conflicted now. I'm conflicted because these five are probably some of my least favorite Pokemon. You know what? F? Definitely F. Victory Bell is cool. I'm going to give Victory Bell a very low C. A Victory Bell with Razor Leaf is pretty lethal. I'm not going to lie. There was a Victory Bell in the show as well that was pretty cool. So I'm not going to be as harsh on Victory Bell. That's a pretty cool Pokemon. Tentacool and Tentacruel, though, I'm like mad at myself for giving them a C. I don't like Tentacool and Tentacruel. All right, Geodude. First off, I had so many of the Geodude card. You guys know which one I'm talking about. The OG Geodude card that everybody had, and it was so messed up and bent out of shape. I like Geodude, man. I think he's pretty cool. It's unfortunate that he has such a negative connotation to him just because he's got the Zubat effect, right? Where it's like, I got to get through this cave, and all I'm going to run into is Geodude and more Geodude. And if you don't have a water or grass Pokemon, that cave is going to take 3 hours to get through just because you're trying to use Tackle on a Geodude. But I like him, man. I don't know. He's pretty cool. Looking at his design like closely, it makes no sense, dude. It's a rock with biceps and fists. Like, it really doesn't make any sense to me. I'm gonna give him a C. I mean, he doesn't deserve it to be an F. He's a cool Pokemon. Okay, Graveler. I think Graveler is an F. I really don't like Graveler. There's like no point to Graveler except for going up against him. He uses Explosion, kills your Pokemon for no reason. That's, you know what? F. F because of all the times that a Graveler in the wild has used Explosion and killed one of my Pokemon. Golem, though, Golem is sick. Golem is sick. I'm going to give him a mid-C. Nothing bad to say about Golem. Nothing really too crazy to say about him. He's cool. The Golem card growing up was really cool. Just looking at Golem is sick. And he's got a sick name. Like, Golem, come on. That's a really, really cool name. Cool Pokemon. Gets a C. C for cool. That's how I'm gonna justify that one. Here we go again, though. We got more fire Pokemon. I'm gonna give Ponyta, though. I'm gonna give Ponyta a C. Nothing too crazy about Ponyta. It's a cool Pokemon. C for cool. Like, that's just how we're gonna go with that one. However, Rapidash, I'm tempted to give Rapidash a B just because shiny Rapidash looks so good. It's like sick. The way that the flames change colors, and I don't know, Rapidash is a really, really cool Pokemon. Like, I could see Rapidash being in the same tier as like a Machamp or something like that. I feel like I've been really, really harsh, so maybe like part of me is like, oh, it's time to be a little nice to the fire Pokemon. I don't know, high C, low B. I'm gonna go high C. Rapidash and Ponyta, they're fire Pokemon. I did say before that there's gonna be no fire Pokemon in C tier, but they're like on the cusp of being in a B tier. They're really, really cool. It's just you never really caught one because you always had a Charmander or a Charizard by that point. All right, next up we got Slowpoke. This is gonna be tough. Probably mid to low C, but Slowpoke in the show was pretty cool. He's just a chill dude. I got nothing bad to say about Slowpoke. I would probably never want one on my team, but he's cool. He's cool. Slowbro though, low C. Really low C. Not doing much for me. It's cool that there's a Shelder. How is that a Shelder? How is this thing on his tail a Shelder? That always weirded me out. I'm not too sure what's going on there. But it was cool that it was like two Pokemon fused together, you know? So nothing bad to say about him. Cool Pokemon. Magnemite and Magneton, Fs. Fs. No point. No point to Magnemite and Magneton. Again, this is the same thing as Diglett and Dugtrio. Like, it's just 3 of 1 Pokemon. Not really feeling it. You could do a little bit better than that. And honestly, what is it? Magnets? Come on. F tier. Moving on. Farfetch'd is pretty cool. I don't know. I never really opted for a Farfetch'd just because, again, by this point, you already had a Pidgey, a Pidgeotto, or something like that. You didn't need another flying Pokemon. It doesn't have an evolved form, and that was big for me. When I was a kid, if a Pokemon didn't have an evolved form, I either didn't catch it or didn't really like it, except for a select few. He carries a celery stick, so that's kind of cool. He's talking about being healthy. But, okay, Farfetch'd in the show was hilarious, though, so C tier. Okay, so now we got another flying Pokemon that somehow is a flying Pokemon when it shouldn't be. I don't know what is up with Doduo and Dodrio. I'm tempted to put them into an F because they don't make sense. What's the point of catching them? Except, okay, Dodrio gets low C just because it has Tri-Attack. And I remember being a kid thinking that Tri-Attack was like the coolest move ever. It was ice, it was lightning, and it was fire. Awesome move. Dodrio gets it. Doduo, high F, but still F. Really not doing it for me. Cool being a two-headed bird and all that. Not really feeling it. All right, next up we got Seal. Seal is pretty cool. I have nothing bad to say about Seal. Again, this is the archetype of you look at it and you can't be mad. You look at it and you're just like, yeah, that's a cute Pokemon. Low C. Dugong, same thing. Dugong is a C. I like Dugong. I had a lot of Dugong cards growing up. He's a cool Pokemon. Nothing too bad, nothing too good to say about him. Okay, Grimer. F. F. I gotta do it. F. I failed science experiment, came out of a barrel oozing. I don't know, man. Grimer's gotta be an F for me. Muck is really annoying. Muck always had Minimize, and every time I fought against a Muck, oh my goodness, it took forever because it would just use Minimize, and I'm like, how are you missing? F. I don't like them. They don't do it for me. All right, so we got Shelder now. Shelder is a pretty cool Pokemon. I like Shelder. I feel like a lot of these Pokemon, it's like, yeah, I got nothing bad to say about them. It's a cool Pokemon. I also had a lot of Shelder cards growing up. Mid-tier C. I like how his tongue's popping out and he, hides in his little shell or whatever. Shelder's cool. Cloyster, a little bit more mid over Shelder. I like Cloyster. I don't think I ever had one. I had the Cloyster card. I had a bunch of them. I think he just looks sick, man. I don't know. His design is just awesome. He looks so menacing. He's got all the horns and stuff like that. The purple. Cloyster is a cool Pokemon. C. Okay, now I feel like we're getting into the interesting stuff. We're getting into like the obscure Pokemon here. Ghastly, I don't know. Ghastly is decent. Low C. He's not an F. Ghastly is most if there was a D tier, Ghastly is probably in D tier, but we're gonna put him into a C. I like him. Haunter though, easy B tier. Haunter is really, really cool. I love Haunter's design. I don't know why. I think Haunter is so cool. I still remember all the way back, my first ever Pokemon Blue team. I had a Haunter that had Nightshade. And the sound of Nightshade in Pokemon Blue, the sound it made, and like the effect when you used it was awesome. So I was a huge fan of Haunter. And then following that, we got Gengar, B tier. Actually, I don't know. You know what? I'm kind of tempted to put Gengar in A tier. I'm going to do that. Gengar A tier. Gengar is a sick Pokemon. I mean, Psychic, Hypnosis into Dream Eater. The way he looks, everything about Gengar is just awesome. The cards, the Pokemon in the show, the Pokemon in the game, like everything about Gengar is just awesome. A tier, definite A tier. All right, we got Onix, iconic character, iconic Pokemon, but not really doing much for me. He doesn't evolve into anything. He's not the evolved form of anything. So somewhere in C, somewhere mid to low C. He's cool because Brock has an Onix. Everybody has faced an Onix at some point in their life. That's like the one cool thing. It's cool though. The Rock Snake is really cool. Onix in the show was really cool to see. They killed it with his animations and stuff like that. But rock Pokemon are solid. They are really cool Pokemon, but again, not really doing much for me there. All right, Drowsy and Hypno. I am tempted to put Drowsy in F tier. What does Drowsy bring to the table? Somewhere in F. I could see Drowsy and Grimer being on the same tier. Really not much for me. Hypno, I feel like I can't put Hypno in F tier. I'm gonna put him in C. somewhere in like low C area. Like if he didn't, okay, if he didn't have that little pendulum, F tier. I like the little pendulum thing. He gets a point, that brings him up into C tier. All right, Krabby. Let's think. I don't know. Honestly, if there was a D tier, Krabby would probably go into it. He doesn't do much for me. If you're gonna get a water Pokemon, there is so many better options for water Pokemon. He doesn't really bring anything to the table. And I think that's kind of where the F tier Pokemon are going. Krabby, I'm not seeing much. Same with Kingler, probably an F. You're not getting excited over getting a Kingler. Wow, I feel like I'm about to get really harsh because we just put like 3 in a row into F, and Voltorb and Electrode, Fs. Pokeballs. Literally, why? What's the point of them? And this is why I was like, I think we're about to get harsh because we got Execute, F. It's eggs. It's cracked eggs. What does it even do? Executor, though. Executor is kind of cool. We're going to give him a low C. Executor is pretty cool. I like the palm tree. He's got the hair. There's multiple faces. He learns Psychic and stuff like that. So Executor is pretty cool. But Execute, yeah, F. Not doing anything for me. Cubone, one of my all-time favorites. Way high A tier. Way up there A tier. Not quite an S, but way up there in A tier. I am a huge fan of Cubone. Like, Cubone is awesome. I don't know what it is about him, but as a kid, I just thought Cubone was like the coolest Pokemon ever. I like Cubone, man. Cubone is an awesome Pokemon. There's a lot of story around it. There's a lot of history with Cubone and Marowak and different things like that. So really, really cool Pokemon. I gotta give Cubone an A. Moving down into Marowak here though, probably a high B, a really, really solid B. It's the evolved form of Cubone. Like again, I just love Cubone so much. So it's so funny that Caterpie is up here to me. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, Cubone and Marowak, really, really cool Pokemon. A and B respectively. No questions asked there. Oh, this is fun. Okay, Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee is awesome. I want to give Hitmonlee a high B. Hitmonlee is really, really cool. I wish there was some version of an evolved form, whether it was Hitmonlee being the second evolved and he had like a first form, or Hitmonlee evolves into something like, again, the Pokemon that don't evolve and they're just kind of how they are. I never really liked that. I always like something more, you know? So if Hitmonlee evolved, I would have probably put him into an A. But overall, Hitmonlee is awesome. I mean, he is so cool. Everybody knows Hitmonlee. There's the age-old question, Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan. And that's just how legendary these two are. B tier for both of them. For me personally, Hitmonlee. But Hitmonchan, really, really cool too. Both of them, amazing, amazing Pokemon. Leave a comment, Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan. I'm actually interested to know about that. All right, probably the most random Pokemon that has ever been made in the history of Pokemon. Lickitung, mid-C, just because of how outrageous this Pokemon is. Like, what is that and why is it? It's definitely not an F just because there's such like a wow factor when you look at it. Like, what am I looking at? And everybody knows Lickitung. Such a bizarre Pokemon. Makes no sense. What guy, when they're like, okay, we got to think of the original Pokemon here for the game. What guy was like, random pink thing with a giant tongue? That's what my brain thinks about, and it's hilarious. Lickitung is really funny. In the show, he was really funny. Nothing bad to say about him. Just so bizarre. So bizarre. All right, Coughing. I think Coughing falls into the Magnemite and Voltorb thing, where it's just like, why? What's the point? F tier. Wheezing, okay. I don't want to just be so quick to give Wheezing an F, because I don't think he's an F. If there was a D tier, he would be a D tier, 100%. Gotta be a low C. I think Wheezing is pretty cool. He is one of those Pokemon where it's like, it's just another one of the first one, just put together. Like, I'm seeing that trend a lot in Gen 1, actually. It seems like they just kind of, some Pokemon, they're like, what should we make it? I don't know, make it 2. Okay. Or make it 3. But Wheezing is pretty cool. As a kid, hated Wheezing, thought it was completely pointless. But I don't know, growing up, as I'm starting to get older, also Wheezing in the show was, that's why, okay, that's going to be my justification for putting Wheezing into C tier. Just because of how much of a crucial role he had in the show. Like, he always was in every episode. Wheezing is a C tier. He's pretty cool. Not an F. Coughing, definitely an F, though. I like Rhyhorn a lot. I think Rhyhorn is really, really cool. I'm tempted to put Rhyhorn into B. I'm very tempted, but he's got to go into high C. Rhyhorn is just awesome, man. It's a freaking rhinoceros. Literally the perfect Pokemon. Like, if they're looking at, like, real-life animals, and they're like, which one of these could be a Pokemon? Go take a rhinoceros and bring him into Pokemon. Like, that's literally it. Solid Pokemon. Never had anything bad to say about him. He's cool. I am, again, very low B or high C. That's where Rhyhorn goes. Also, I had a ton of Rhyhorn cards growing up, so Rhydon right behind Rhyhorn. This is one of the few instances where I don't think that the evolved form is cooler than the first form. I still think Rhydon is an awesome Pokemon. Like, Rhydon is one of those Pokemon where if somebody told me their favorite Pokemon was Rhydon, I'd be like, I understand, I get it, that's cool. He's solid. Just brute force, powerhouse, looks really cool. All right, coming up to the end here almost. We got, this video's been going on for a while, so we're gonna try to speed things up a little bit. Blissey. Everybody knows Blissey. Everybody knows Blissey. Not an F just because of the memes about Blissey. It does not faint. Blissey will stay alive forever. Blissey is like the cockroach of the Pokemon universe. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could nuke a Blissey and it would still not faint. Next up is Tangela. Tangela is a Pokemon that, I don't know, I really don't understand it. I don't want to give it an F right away. What does Tangela do? It's in the Seal archetype, right? Where it's like, you can't get mad looking at it. That's the justification for putting him into C. You can't get mad looking at it. I just don't get it. Everything has been getting a C. Like, a lot of bulk of these Pokemon are getting C here. Kangaskhan. A. 110% A tier. Original Hollow Kangaskhan card. One of my favorite cards of all time. He's got a little pal in his pouch. Like, that's so cool to me. Again, just one of the brute force Pokemon that just looks really, really cool. Kangaskhan Dynamic Punch. Like, you're done. One hit KO. Nothing is surviving that. Love this Pokemon. From the game to the card. A tier. All right, we got a couple water Pokemon coming up here. Actually, a bunch of water Pokemon coming up. Wow, there is a ton of water types in Gen 1 that I didn't even realize. Okay, Horsey. C. Nothing bad to say about it. Nothing good to say about it. Mid to low C. That's cool. I had a bunch of Horsey cards when I was growing up, so you know, there's a lot of like nostalgia when I look at the Pokemon, so I can't say anything bad about it. Mid C. Seadra kind of pointless. I mean, Seadra's really not doing anything for me. Definitely not an F. It's a really, I like the design. The design of the Pokemon is really cool, but I don't know. Horsey definitely way cooler. Seadra looks cool, but Goldeen F. I'm sorry. Same thing as Krabby. What's the point? What is the point of that Pokemon? Seaking is decent. I'll give Seaking like a way low C. Not an F. Kind of a cool Pokemon, I'm not going to lie. I did have a lot of Seaking cards, and I liked the artwork on that growing up as a kid, but really not doing much for me. Low C. Okay, we got an interesting one. Staryu. Okay, I like Staryu. I think Staryu is really cool. Obviously, you fight Misty in the second gym, so every single one of your playthroughs, you're going up against a Staryu, like, right off the bat. It's cool. Mid-high C. Cool Pokemon. Nothing really else to say about it. It's cool that it's a water type. I like the design a lot. I think it's unique. I think it's really interesting. And then Starmie, also really, really cool. I like Starmie a little bit better than Staryu, just because it turns into a psychic type when it evolves. And I mean, the purple looks really good. There's a lot going on with it. I really like it. I really like those two Pokemon. I think it's really, really unique. They're cool. They're cool Pokemon. Nightmare Fuel 1, F. I'm skipping ahead just one. Nightmare Fuel 2, F. Jinx and Mr. Mime don't need to exist in the Pokemon universe. Thank you. No more questions. Scyther. Okay, Scyther, A. Scyther is awesome. Everybody likes Scyther. You can't not like him. His name is cool. He looks cool. If all of these Pokemon were in a high school, Scyther would be the popular kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody would like Scyther. So yeah, Scyther A tier. I mean, unfortunately, he's one of those characters that doesn't evolve, but he's got the Kangaskhan effect. Like, you just look at him and you're like, that character is awesome. That Pokemon looks so cool. I want it on my team. I want it running around next to me. Like, I want a Scyther. So, huge fan of Scyther. All the Scyther cards were awesome. Always like to have one on my team. All right, this one I'm a little conflicted. I don't know. Electabuzz. Like I said, I do like the electric types. Electabuzz is cool. I don't think he's a B. I'm looking at the B tier. I don't think he matches up to those guys. I'm gonna put him at a high C. He's right around Rhyhorn, like right at the cusp of being B. Electabuzz is really, really cool. I got nothing bad to say about him. He's a solid character. His design is awesome. The electricity markings on him, everything about him. If they made Thunder Punch for one Pokemon to learn, it would be for Electabuzz. Like, he literally looks like he would learn Thunder Punch, you know, and like, that's such an awesome move. I like Electabuzz, man. He's a really solid Pokemon. Next we have Magmar, though. Okay, I really don't like Magmar. I know I said I like fire types a lot. Magmar is definitely not an F. Low C. He's not bringing much to the table for me. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that like Magmar a lot. I know quite a few people do. He's got a really cool card, but other than that, like, okay, Pinsir is a weird one. I don't really know what to say about Pinsir. I don't even know what Pinsir is. Low C. I don't know. Did you ever even catch one? I don't think so. I never caught one. I had a pincer card. That was kind of cool. C tier. Oh, Tauros. Okay, I like Tauros a lot. I'm putting Tauros in a B. Again, it's like the Rhyhorn effect, right? If you were to look at all the real life animals and you're like, okay, which one of these would be a good Pokemon? A bull. Tauros is sick. I do wish Tauros had an evolved form. Low B, way on the low B side. A really, really solid Pokemon. If he were to be a C, he would be right in front of Rhyhorn, but I'm going to put him at the end of B just because I just really like him. I think he's a cool Pokemon, man. I think he's a really cool Pokemon. All right, next up, we have the biggest meme Pokemon in the entirety of the Pokemon world, Magikarp. Listen. I'm just kidding. Magikarp, I gotta give him a C. We're gonna give him a high C just because there's just so much story around Magikarp, right? Like, what is Splash? We still don't know to this day. Is Splash secretly the best move in the world? I just think the story around Magikarp is hilarious. You catch a Magikarp at level 5, grind 15 levels to get him to 20, and you get an A tier Gyarados. Gyarados is awesome. Everybody loves Gyarados. Everybody loves Gyarados. He's probably everybody's favorite shiny Pokemon. What's really cool about Magikarp and Gyarados is it goes from the weakest Pokemon ever to like one of the strongest looking Pokemon ever. And honestly, there are some Gyarados cards. If I could get my hands on them, the artwork is so good. Gyarados' character model, everything about him. I like Gyarados. I think I speak for everybody. Gyarados is awesome. Magikarp is hilarious. He's going to be put in C. Gyarados, easy A tier. A lot of people would probably put Gyarados in S tier. Red Gyarados, probably an S. Shiny Gyarados, probably an S. Gen 1, regular Gyarados, level 20. A. Everything about him, Gyarados, awesome, awesome Pokemon. Next up, Lapras. An interesting Pokemon. Honestly, A. I think I'm going to have to go with A. Lapras is just like a classic Pokemon. Ash uses Lapras to surf. He just chills on the back. It is the most efficient Pokemon. Yeah, Lapras is an A. I love the design. Really cool Pokemon. Learns Ice Beam, gets Surf. It's just overall super solid. Like, definitely an A tier. Lapras Pokemon cards always look so good. I like Lapras a lot. Lapras and Kangaskhan kind of fit into the same category for me where it's like these Pokemon are just so cool. This one's funny. Ditto. Ditto should be an S because he could be any Pokemon. So he could be an F, he could be a C, B, A, or an S because he could turn into a Butterfree or he could turn into a Magneton. Like, he could be anything, but Ditto as himself, probably just a C tier, mid C. I really like how it has transform and that's it. I think that's really cool. It's got its own kind of gimmick. It's got its own shtick to it. You know, no other Pokemon does what Ditto does. I like Ditto. Cool Pokemon. Ditto cards are really cool. The name is fun to say. All right, next up, get ready for this. Ready? Eevee, S. Vaporeon, S. Jolteon, best Pokemon ever made. Flareon, S. Every evolution is an S tier, no matter what. Flareon, Vaporeon, easy S tier. All right, let me slow it down though. Eevee, S tier. Eevee is such a cool Pokemon. Turns into so many different Pokemon depending on what stone you use. Vaporeon, classic. Flareon, classic. And the most important one, my favorite Pokemon of all time, Jolteon. We're gonna let's get a zoom right here on our boy. Best Pokemon ever made. Period. Let that sink in. He's my all-time favorite. I actually am currently on the quest to get one of every single Jolteon card that exists. S tier, no matter what. Right in front of Butterfree. Butterfree is in second, but Jolteon, my all-time favorite. I love the evolutions. There's nothing better than them. There really isn't. Like, Pokemon Gale of Darkness, you guys played that on the GameCube, you start with an Eevee, and you can get any evolution that you want from there. Like, literally the coolest thing ever. As soon as that happened, I was like, all right, I'm sold. Eevee is actually awesome. Eevee is just super adorable Pokemon. So much versatility, can really do anything. And then, of course, like I said, Vaporeon and Flareon are classics. I know a lot of people like Vaporeon. I personally love the Holo Vaporeon card, the OG one. But like I said, Jolteon S tier. All right, so now we got the really obscure Pokemon. We got Porygon. I'm tempted to put Porygon into F. The reason it's not going into F is because of how unique it is and how, like, what even is that thing? What kind of failed science experiment is that? Or what kind of successful science experiment? That's why I don't really know. So C tier. I don't think I ever had a Porygon on my team. Maybe I had a Porygon card once. Put him in the C tier where, like, other quote unquote weird, askew, obscure, whatever you want to call them Pokemon are. The fact that he's unique is cool. C tier. Ammonite and Amistar. Okay, I can't give them an F because there's only one of each in the games. Ammonite's gonna be a C for me. Ammonite and Omastar. If there was an abundance of them in the game, probably F tier. But since there's only one and you get one chance to get one, they're super rare. Give it a C just because, like, it's kind of cool how you get one. But if you want a shell Pokemon, go Shellder and Cloyster. Why waste the fossil slot? because you have Kabuto, who is next. I like Kabuto a lot. I'm gonna put Kabuto in mid C. He's cool. He's got a really cool design. There's really not much to say about. I don't really know what he does. I don't even know what type he is, to be honest. I don't know. He's unique. He's super rare. Mid C. Kind of cool looking. Comes from a fossil. He's like 1,000,000 years old. Kabuto mid C. But next up, Kabutops, 100% B tier. Just this character looks, or this Pokemon looks so cool. Awesome Pokemon. Love the Kabutops cards. Kabutops, in terms of like overall look, kind of falls into that like Machamp spot, which is why I put him right next to it, where it's like just a really, really cool looking Pokemon. Like as soon as you see him, you're like, I want him on my team, you know? So Kabutops, B tier. Really cool Pokemon. Oh, I like this one. Okay, Aerodactyl, another B tier. Awesome name. Awesome Pokemon. Very unique. Hard to get. Comes from the dinosaur age. Like I like his lore. I like how he looks. Aerodactyl has always been just a really, really cool Pokemon to me. B tier, 100%. Okay, this next one is tough. So this is right before we get into like the quote unquote legendaries almost, but Snorlax. Now what do we do with Snorlax? I'm thinking B tier. I don't think Snorlax is a C. I'm looking at the other C Pokemon and I'm like, no way. Snorlax is definitely a B. He's awesome. I mean, he just wants to sleep. He just wants to sleep and eat. I think we can all attest to that. All we want to do is just sleep and eat. Like, we all want to be Snorlax. And if we don't want to be Snorlax, we want to have a Snorlax. Like, he's really, really cool. I mean, the bane of my existence when I was a kid playing the games, because I had no idea how to get the Pokeflute and I had no idea how to wake him up, and I would just restart my game as soon as I got to Snorlax because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I like Snorlax a lot. Classic Hollow Snorlax card is really, really cool. Really cool Pokemon, B tier. All right, the legendary birds are up next. I got some hot takes on this one, but not yet. Articuno, A tier. I love how Articuno and Caterpie are in the same tier, but I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own that. Yeah, I like Articuno a lot. Articuno is definitely one of my favorite legendaries, period. Growing up, I always loved Articuno. There was something, his name, the name Articuno is just awesome. Like, just saying it, you're like, I want that Pokemon. How he looks, just majestic ice blue bird. Like, there's nothing better than that. The sound it makes, it gets Ice Beam, Blizzard, like, it does all this crazy stuff. Articuno, definitely my favorite legendary bird. And then Zapdos, same thing. A tier all the way. I love how Zapdos looks. There was like a solid week where Zapdos was probably my favorite Pokemon when I was like 4 years old. I thought Zapdos was like the coolest Pokemon ever. So Zapdos, A tier. Articuno and Zapdos are like neck and neck. Like, it literally just depends how I'm feeling. Zapdos and Articuno, awesome Pokemon, A tier all the way. But now this is my hot take. Moltres. I'm very tempted to put Moltres in C, but just because it's a legendary, it's going into B. Below B. It never really did much for me. Like, you look at Zapdos and Articuno, you're like, oh wow, those are sick looking Pokemon. Like, look at those. I think you just see Moltres and you're like, meh, I'm not really feeling it. I never really was. I think there might be a little bit of bias because I accidentally used a Master Ball on a Moltres when I was a kid, and that made me really mad. So maybe that's why I have like a negative feeling towards Moltres, but yeah, B tier. All right, Dratini. Cool. I like Dratini a lot. The problem with Dratini is you don't get a Dratini until the end of the game, and by that point, you don't want to grind Pokemon anymore. You already have your team of 6. So that's the first problem. I think it's a cool Pokemon overall. C. Again, nothing bad to say, nothing good to say, just cool Pokemon. Dragonair is really, really cool. I like Dragonair a lot. I'm going to put Dragonair in B tier. I think Dragonair is like super majestic. Dragonair is awesome. I don't know how it turns into a Dragonite, but if it was just Dratini and Dragonair, and like Dragonite was its own thing and not part of that evolution line, I would be like, dude, Dragonair is awesome. Give me one of those on my team every time. Dragonair is cool. I really like it. B tier. Definitely on par with Moltres, 100%. All right, Dragonite. I know a lot of people like Dragonite. I think Dragonite is like the highest B. Dragonite is definitely the highest B, and it could just be because I'm mad at all the Dragonites that I've had to fight in Pokemon and lost to. Like, you guys know, there's Dragonites throughout Pokemon, whether it's in the Elite Four or certain gyms, like, they are tough. Actually, Dragonite's an A. Now that I think about it, like, Dragonite is a really, really cool Pokemon. Like, I shouldn't have given it a B. I kind of want to cut that out, but I like the revelation that I just had, so I'm going to keep that in there. Dragonite's an A tier. Again, borderline legendary Pokemon, like, kind of is, but kind of isn't. I like Dragonite. He's cool. A tier. Definitely on par with Lapras. Like, really solid Pokemon. The final two, I don't know how long this video was, but 151 Pokemon is a lot. It's a lot, but we got Mew and Mewtwo. One of these is going in A. One of these is going in S. Mew's an A, 100%. You gotta love Mew. Mew is a classic Pokemon. I mean, everything from it created the world to doing the truck glitch thing in Pokemon Red and Blue where you could get a Mew to pop out if you press a certain button combination on a random truck by the SSN. Like, everything about Mew is just awesome. There's so much lore, there's so much storytelling, there's so much there with this character. And I like Mew. Mew is really, really cool Pokemon. All of her cards look really, really good. Easily an A. And the final 151st Pokemon, Mewtwo S tier. No questions asked. Mewtwo is absolutely awesome. You cannot beat Mewtwo. You don't win against Mewtwo. It wins every time, no matter who you are, no matter what Pokemon you are, no matter what level. Mewtwo always wins. That's how I look at it. Also, Mewtwo is one of my favorite characters in Super Smash. Like, there's so much, again, so much lore, so much story behind the character. You know, I remember being a kid, being at the second gym, and Mewtwo Cave was like just right off the camera angle, right? And I remember always looking at it, be like, wow, you know, by the end of this game, I might be able to go in there and go try to catch a Mewtwo. And like, catching a Mewtwo was like craziest thing ever. If you caught a Mewtwo, you were the Pokemon master. You know, that's the Pokemon to be going for. So Mewtwo S tier, 100%. And that officially stamps our 151 Gen 1 Pokemon tier list. Everything from S to F. But that's it. I think this is really, really solid. I tried to be as unbiasedly biased as I could. And I honestly, that was a lot of fun, man. That was probably one of the most fun videos I have, just sitting here and ranking Pokemon. So if you guys want to see more, leave a like and a comment. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm going to see you all in the next one.